Hello, everybody. How is everyone doing? I hope you are having a fantastic day. My name is Alfonso Macias, proudly Sharon Rose Master of Atomy, this amazing and beautiful company. And I am super duper excited. Depending on when you're watching this, although we are recording during the holidays. So I want to say, I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you had a great time with family. And really, we're trying to launch some new content because I know a lot of what we do in Atomy and the business is very much training driven and seminar driven. So we want to do something a little bit different. That way we can actually get to know the different members and leaders that we've got here in the company on a more personal level. And today, I got to tell you, I am super duper excited because we have a special guest who I say he's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the person that I would watch in the very beginning in my growth with Atomy. And of course, you all know him as the MC of our one-day seminars and as well as our Success Academies and our Zooms. So I want to welcome Scott to the stream. Scott, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast and to be able to get to know you. We met for the first time last month at the Success Academies in LA, right? I believe that was our first time.
Yeah. Well,
no.
That was Seattle.
One-day seminar, right?
That's right.
One-day seminar. That's right. Yeah.
That's right. And I got to tell you, I loved your personality from the time that I met you. It was just an automatic click, and that's what I love about what we do in Atomy is that we get to meet awesome people. We're constantly creating synergy. And so let's jump right into it because I know some people know you, some people don't, some people are just starting. And I know that you really were the face of Atomy USA, especially during this whole pandemic, and we were operating off of Zooms. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about, who you are and, how you came about, connecting with Atomy and just so people can get to know you a little bit better.
Wow. When we were first introduced to Atomy, my wife and I, some friends of ours back, I think it was in about 2013, they came to our house and they introduced us to Atomy. Now, my wife is Korean and her friends are Korean as well. And so they came to our house and we sat in our living room and they spoke in Korean and gave me the 30-second translation. And I didn't really understand what Atomy was about. They didn't bring any products. There was nothing, that they brought to the table to visually show me what Atomy was about. And so I didn't want to get involved in it. I didn't understand what it was. So I asked them to leave my house. And then secretly, 5 years later, my wife signed up with them in 2018. And I didn't realize that she had signed up, but I knew that the products in our house started changing. I'd go into the bathroom and my toothpaste was different. My shampoo was different.
Now, what was your initial reaction? Well, when you started seeing all these products and you're like, I sort of remember that, right? They were talking about it. What was your initial reaction to seeing all your products starting to be replaced?
Well, because it wasn't an overnight switch, it was a gradual thing. To me, it was just a new product in the house. Now it had the Atomy logo on it, but my wife did a great thing. She knew what I liked: coffee, and coffee, right? So she got me hooked on the coffee, and I'm still hooked on the coffee. I'm her number one PV supplier of coffee, right? So, yeah, and so I told her, I said, okay, you know, honey, it's fine. If you want to do the business, it's fine. That's all you. I don't want to do that. Prior to us getting involved in Atomy, we had a coffee shop, my wife and I, for about 2.5 years here in our hometown. And we made a lot of money on it. Of course, I drank most of the profits.
I was going to say,
but we made money in that, you know, because we were in business.
Now, how long? Just to interject, how long did y'all have the coffee shop for?
It was about 2.5 years, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. The issue with that is we always wanted our own business. We always wanted to be into business ourselves. So we opened this coffee shop. We had to get up at 4:30 in the morning. We had to open at 6 in the morning. My wife worked there all day. I would work there throughout the day with her. And then I'd have to go, we'd go there and we'd close at 8 o'clock at night. And so we'd get home about 9 o'clock at night after we closed down, get up at 4:30 in the morning, wash, rinse, repeat 6 days out of the week. And then on Sunday, the Lord's Day, the day of rest,
right,
we spent it shopping for all of the inventory.
That's right,
to get us through the week. So we never had any time off. We were making money, but we were trading our time for that money, and we never had any time off. So when my wife got sick, I was stuck there by myself all day long. When I got sick, she was dealing with it, you know.
Right.
And so after about 2.5 years, we were just like done. So we sold that, and then it was when she secretly signed up for Atomy. That was about 2018. And, you know, that's when I noticed more and more of the products changing in our house. And I told her, I said, look, you know, it's all you. That's that Korean thing from your Korean friends, right?
Yeah.
But then about 9 months later, in August of 2019, they were having the success seminar up in Seattle. And my son came to me and said, Dad, Mom's getting promoted. Do you want to go to the ceremony? And I'm like, promoted for what? And he said, well, in Atomy, she's getting promoted. She's been promoted as a sales master, and we got to go to the success seminar. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go. So we drove up to Seattle, which isn't too far away from us anyways. And I went to that seminar, and there were around 450, 500 people there. And I'm looking around this room, and I'm seeing all of these people who are there to get promoted, or they're being recognized, they're being celebrated for the challenges that they had. And I'm looking around this room, and I'm seeing men, women, young people, old people, people from different countries, white people, black people, brown people. I mean, just people of different nationalities. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm like, well, this isn't just a Korean company. This is a global company. And the guest speaker that day, the funniest man, I forget his name, but I see him on YouTube all the time. He was from the Philippines. And I fell in love at that moment with Atomy. And I went home that day, got logged into my wife's account, and saw that she had been making money with Atomy. Now, I realized that money wasn't going into our joint checking account,
Sure.
So I found out a few things, but it's okay, But it was from that moment, that was August of 2019, was when I started actively working with my wife in this business, because I saw it more than just a business, but as a mission in life, to be able to help change people's lives and to do something bigger than myself, and so
let me just stop you there. I have a question. Sort of want to go back a little bit, because I think something that you said is something that I feel is maybe a little bit of a mental obstacle that a lot of people I feel here in the US go through, which is they're shared the product. And I'm telling you, because I went through it the first time that somebody shared the product with me. and it was that's a Korean thing,
Yeah.
right? Or oh, that's so how the fact that the remedy to that was you actually had to go to a seminar, go to a Success Academy, and that's what broke that paradigm or that stigma that you had attached to that, right?
Right. Correct. Yeah. I had to, it's one thing. It's when you tell a friend or a family member about this, and you tell them the benefits of the product, or you tell them about the compensation plan or the company and everything, they're like, oh yeah, Alfonso, he's on another thing, here he goes again,
Yeah.
But when they hear it from someone else and they hear that same message, then it starts to resonate with them.
Yeah.
And so those friends that my wife had that came to our house many years before, and I had known them in our, in our past, so I knew these people, and I was like, oh, okay, well, okay, what are they into now, But it wasn't until, one, my wife planted the seed by the coffee, the toothpaste, the shampoo, and just there were a bunch of other products that she was using that I didn't know about. Because I don't do laundry, she
Right.
doesn't. I don't know what she's using in there,
Right.
sitting on there on a washboard and a bar of soap. For all I know, I have no idea,
Yeah.
But so she had atomized her life, and now she was helping me to atomize my life. Right? Changing one product at a time. So she had planted that seed. And then when I went to the success seminar, that's when it started to grow. That's when the vision really took off. And it opened my mind to something bigger than just, using toothpaste or just this, and so, it is. I want to talk a little bit about branding and not, about that because, right now I think a lot of people just think, oh, it's a Korean thing. And I don't know how to speak Korean and I, how do we market these products? And I wanted to talk about that eventually, but I want to go back to when I got into this and started working with my wife on this because that was 2019. And the only thing I knew was, it was like, how can I help my wife do this business? How can I help her expand what she's already done?
Right.
I had a lot to learn, right? And the
different business, right? Different business than a different business than what you had been, working in prior. Yeah.
Yeah. I had never really, known about network marketing. I knew of it, but I didn't know what it was. And, or in that whole realm of products and buying, selling, and communicating that out. The only thing I could relate to was back in the late, 1970s, early 80s. I remember my mom having these once a month parties at our house, and all of us kids got to sit on the floor and just sit there and play with Tupperware, and these bowls, it was like just Tupperware parties. And I remember some of my friends too, they had candle parties, or they had these things. And I thought, well, what I can do is I can invite people into my living room and I can show them the Atomy products. I'll start with that. And so we started with that, and I invited a few friends, and then we had our next meeting and we had more friends and more friends and more friends. And so it started growing. And then my wife started having people come over for facials, right? And with the evening care set and working through that. And things were going, we're growing. And I started going to the weekly center meetings, which were up north from us, and in Tacoma. And I started getting plugged into the system. In my mind, I thought, oh, I've got this all figured out. I know how to do this. I've got this,
Yeah.
But little did I realize I had a lot to learn, right? But things were going great. And then the pandemic happened. And I was like, oh boy, that's the end of this. Well, how am I going to do
I
this?
can't meet with people, right?
Yeah. Well, little did I know it kept growing. It just kept growing because it dawned on me that everybody's sitting at home. Everybody's looking for something else. The pandemic was obviously it was a horrible thing to experience for the entire world, right?
Right.
And but in some regards it was a blessing for a lot of other people because they realized that those secure jobs that they had were not 100% secure. I mean, you experienced that as well.
100%. It was an opportunity that came. It was wearing the costume of crisis, but realistically, it came disguised as a crisis. But it was one of the best opportunities because I thought, just like you're saying, I thought, my business is set. It's sure. I'm never going to have issues with it. And lo and behold, pandemic hit. Everything. I lost everything basically. Yeah. And I think you're making some great points too. Hence the phrase, you can't be a prophet in your own land, right? A lot of times is as much as you tell your friends or, especially family, it's so different. You can say something, but they hear it from somebody else that has nothing to do with them. And it just clicks. It just clicks. And so I think that's key. But I love your wife's way of how she just subtly, intermingled it. And then once it was already, you noticed it, it was already like established, done. You're like, okay, great. So this is something that actually works. Now, how did you deal with the whole pandemic situation? How did you navigate that with the Atomy business?
So one of the things that I did was I went to Zoom and started working on Zoom, and I started going to the internet, right, and working that, and so continued to reach out to people through Facebook and joined different groups out there, different communities. And one of the things that I did was I created a Facebook group for Atomy, and I started getting people around the world that would join it, and they would join, and then I'd build relationships with them, and they would ask me questions, and we would just build relationships, and then it started growing from there. Taught them how to sign people up, and then they started doing the business as well. And so, one of the things that happened then for all of us is we transitioned to online marketing. We online, Zoom meetings, and the company transitioned as well and went to our one-day seminars online, our success seminars online, all of their podcasts and different seminars that they had. And fortunate for me, I live 30 miles away from Atomy headquarters here in Federal Way, Washington. And they asked myself and my son if we would, do the emceeing for their online success academies. And one of the things that I realized was that
if you need to get that, Scott, go grab that. That's the beauty of live streaming with these podcasts. Well, while Scott comes back, during I just want to talk a little bit about during the pandemic. I think the biggest thing and the most important thing, I guess, you can say, is really seeking the opportunity and not letting difficult moments paralyze you. Because I think the pandemic was something that affected everybody. And I think it was a big wake-up call, really, to the majority of the world. but I think the opportunity that it was a learning experience, uh, that really entrepreneurs and people that want to grow, that want to get ahead, that want to reach their goals, they are they look for those opportunities even in the midst of those difficult moments, because the pandemic is one thing, but I think in life in general, yeah, we're going to climb mountains, but we're also going to be in valleys. We're going to go through valleys. And so just seeing, I loved the fact that during the pandemic I saw so many people in Atomy just grow. And I love it because it's almost like Atomy was a garden, and seeds were sprouting while everywhere else around, was drying up and was dying. And that really spoke to me about this business, because I was just starting as well during the pandemic. That's when I started. And I was like, how is it that this is thriving and everywhere else it's not? So that's what really grabbed my attention. I'm like, there's something about this business. But I think also the fact that um, really I was convinced about the business. And I think that there's something about when you're convinced and you really find something good and you stick to it, you start to see the results from it, right? The consistency and discipline aspect. And it's just crazy to me, to hear your story a little bit from, not really being interested. It was just a Korean thing, to now I see behind you. And obviously the reason why you had to stand up is because you're at your center, right? So you went from that to, now you have your own center. I mean, what made you take even that leap, to opening up your own education center?
Well, so going back to the beginning of the pandemic, when we were trying to figure out, we being Atomy was trying to figure out, okay, what do we do? How do we continue to spread the economic gospel of Atomy, or the message of Atomy, to the
Right.
world, now that everybody's stuck at home? And I was asked by Atomy to do the MC at the success seminars and the one-day seminars, and there were other MCs as well. We had other people. My son Marcus, he does Good Morning Atomy.
Yep.
And he's volunteered with that. But one of the things that I always had in my mind was that comment that John F. Kennedy made, many years ago, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
That's right.
And I thought about that. I thought, well, I really believe in the mission of Atomy and what Atomy is, focused on. And so, ask not what Atomy can do for you, but what you can do for Atomy. And so that's when I started volunteering. Anytime I was asked, I'd volunteer to do something. And we all did, we all participated in that. You participated in it, many times, being, guest speakers of people's, their Zoom sessions and whatnot, and traveling around, being a guest speaker at different events. And so the 2000s was a time of great learning for me. It's like, okay, well, if we can make it through this, we can make it through anything,
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I started watching was a lot of motivational speakers online. And one of them was a gentleman by the name of Jim Rohn. And if you haven't seen him, you haven't listened to him, I recommend, going to YouTube and listening to him. I met him in 1996 at a seminar up in Seattle. There was a big, huge motivational seminar going on up there. And he was one of the guest speakers. So I've always followed Jim Rohn. But one of the things that he said was that the history of mankind is filled with moments of great challenge, or hard times, followed by moments of opportunity, right? And so there we were in the midst of the pandemic, which was definitely a hard time for many people. But I knew that through that, if we couldn't get through that pandemic, we would have a moment of great opportunity, right?
Yep.
And so here we are, now, coming out of that pandemic and learning so much about ourselves through that,
Yeah.
realizing that, for many people, they didn't have an opportunity to work from home. They didn't have an opportunity to go online and do anything. A lot of people lost their jobs. Sadly, a lot of people lost their lives, but a lot of people had their hours reduced. The businesses they were working at might have closed, went out of business. And so a lot of people really started migrating towards the world of network marketing, or trying to just start their own business somewhere. Atomy's not the only network marketing company out there, but when you compare what we offer to what the other network marketing companies offer, I mean, we're in the stratosphere. We're
Absolutely.
above them, in a lot of ways. And we're still young, still starting out, only 13 years old, but we've accomplished so much during that time. And it's a collective it's everybody just pitching in and doing what they can in order to help it grow, in order to help it to succeed. And so there we went through 2020. And then in 2021, our state here in Washington was opening up its restrictions for group gatherings and reducing a lot of the restrictions that we had upon us. And at that time, my wife and I, we were being promoted to Diamond Masters. We were working on a challenge. And I said to her, hey, why don't we open up our own center? And so that started the ball rolling with that. And I mentioned it to my sponsor. My sponsor is Daniel Lim. He just became a Royal Master here. Yep. I mentioned it to him, and within 24 hours, I was out looking for property. So, be careful what you ask for, right?
That's right. That's right.
And so then we opened up our center here, and one of the reasons that I wanted to open up the center was because we were driving up to the center that we belonged to. It was up about 30 miles north of us, and we would go there every Tuesday prior to the pandemic. But I wanted something local here as well in my hometown. And the thing that I wanted to help change that mindset of Atomy being a Korean company only, and one of the ways to do that is just to, open up the center so people can see it, people can experience it, people can come in here and check it out. It's not a retail store. And that's what I think people need to realize. We have products here, but all of those are just open sample products so people can open them up, they can smell them, they can touch them, they can feel them, because we want people to try it before they buy it,
Well, let's talk. Since you brought it up, let's jump into a little bit about the branding, the marketing aspect and element of it.
Yeah.
Because this is my initial thoughts. You mentioned it, and the company's young, for it being a company not really in the network marketing industry. It's meaning it's not looking to compete with it, but obviously utilizing a model within the network marketing industry. It's young.
Yeah.
We're just scratching. We haven't even scratched the surface here in the US.
Right.
And so obviously this company was born in South Korea, but it has become a global company. This is not a Korean company or a Korean brand anymore. It's now a global company. And these are the conversations that I have with a lot of my partners. Is I notice that humans always want it easy, right? It's I want everything to be exactly in the most perfect possible form, so that way I can do the business very easily. And what I tell them is, right, but you are being a pioneer. right? And pioneers are always going to be the front line. They're always going to have it a little bit difficult because you're really creating the road for the ones that are coming. But that's also a huge opportunity for you because you're going to be able to be one of the people that 5 years from now, when the company has so many more things in place logistically and inventory and product, and it's just and it's advanced so much, you're going to be like, hey, I was one of those people that started back then. So from a marketing standpoint, being that this is a word of mouth business, I feel like we really are the ones that have the opportunity. We're not Korean, right? We're the ones that have the opportunity to sort of bring a new face to it. And really, I think when people, exactly like what convinced you, when you went to the seminar and you're like, oh, wait, not everybody's Korean, right? That's sort of what started happening, what happened initially. I saw a product, I was like, it's Korean. Then I started seeing all these different types of people that are using the product, that we're talking about it. I'm like, well, they're not Korean either, right? And so then I said, okay, that's a mental block or a mental obstacle that I gotta overcome. And at the same time, is I'm given the opportunity and the privilege to really be, if you will, a new face. And I think that's part of, from a branding standpoint, is, there is a stereotypical, let's say, American, and I'm using this in quotes, American look, and people are like, well, that's Korean. No. So I think that in a certain way, the company's done a great job and is continuing to do a great job in providing content and bringing in new products and even relaunching and working on a new website. I mean, they're doing so much, and I think that really it's just our job to sort of be the face and show people that we're not just a Korean-based company. And I think that the ability to be able to explain that, and once we're able to explain the GSGS strategy, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not just Korean products, right? I think that's it's one of the hurdles that we have to sort of deal with, because your perception initially was my perception initially, which just frankly, tells me the more people I talk to, is it's most people's perception,
right?
When they're first talked about the product. So tell me a little bit about your thoughts and opinion on that.
Well, one of the things when we had the success seminars here last month, we had them in America, Seattle, Los Angeles, New Jersey, and then Atlanta. And our chairman, Hong-Gil Park, came to the meetings, right? He came here, he shared his vision with us. And afterwards, there were a smaller group meetings with him, leadership meetings. And my wife and I, we were invited because if you were center manager, you could go to the meeting with him. And I remember sitting in that room, and there were about 20 people with him in that room, myself and about 20 people. And there were Imperial Masters there. There were 2 Imperial Masters in the room. Crown Masters, both in America, the 2 that we have, Jason Shim and Oki Lee, they were in the room, and then a number of other leaders, and it was mostly Korean. And my wife, or I was in the back, and there was someone translating for me what was being talked about, and so I sat there for like 2 hours just listening to these translated conversations about our company, and everybody had an opportunity to speak. And one of the things that I did when it came my time, as I was sitting there, I'm looking up through the room, and I could see Chairman Park sitting at the table, and his coffee cup was there. And I thought, well, look at that coffee cup, And so when I walked up there, I walked up into the front of the room, and I started talking. I reached over and I picked up his coffee cup. Now, he didn't know what I was doing, but I picked up the cup, and I pointed to it, and I said, can you guys tell me what that logo is right there? And they all said Starbucks. And I said, well, why isn't that the Atomy logo, the Atomy coffee logo? And I started talking about branding. I started talking about, just that visual perception. When we think of coffee, we think of Starbucks. When we think of French fries, we think of McDonald's.
Right.
We've been branded in our culture with these product identities. And so for me, opening up a center in my hometown is me helping to brand the Atomy product line with the community, with my community. I'm working within my sphere of influence right here, within my community. And, centers, at the time when I opened the center, there were some pretty strict requirements as far as the size and the location and everything. And then about 2 months after I opened up the center, Atomy changed all of that. And so centers no longer need to be large, or they no longer need to be, they can be, 30 square foot, as long as you can have a little meeting place and maybe a whiteboard to teach people, you can open up your own center. And so my goal is to open centers throughout my community, to right next to those Starbucks, right next to those McDonald's. So then people start recognizing this brand with the products, and we were able to get that message out there, right?
Now, it's interesting that you say that, and one thing that I do want to point out is that is the business owner and entrepreneur mindset, and I want to point that out because I feel like a lot of people, maybe come in and they feel like they're just one more distributor or they're one more member. And so I noticed that a lot of people don't necessarily work it as a true business, right? Because when you're a business owner, you've had you owned it. So you think about these things. You think about the marketing, you think about the branding, you think about how am I going to attract more people to my business? How am I going to drive more traffic? How am I going to get the name of my business out there? And that's something that, again, going back to the fact that we haven't even scratched the surface, realistically, that is our opportunity, right? And the company, I think, is going to continue adding. And I think that right now that I was out in Korea, I had a chance to meet with the Green, who's now the new GM that's going to be coming in, and he has some awesome ideas. I mean, really, I'm really excited for for him coming aboard. But I think that, things like, as a business owner, what have I done? Same exact sort of mentality, which is, have I branded my own t-shirts? Does Atomy sell them here in the US? No, but I'm thinking like a business owner. Do I have flyers that I can give out? My business cards, as an example, just the little things of branding, mugs, which we've made, right? So I just think that there's something to having the business owner mentality and not depending off of, well, when the company decides to do it, then I'll start to realistically use this. No, I think if you really want to get ahead and you really want to grow your business, you have to really sort of spearhead even the marketing side. You're doing it with the centers. You have that vision. And I think even in all aspects is, if you want to grow, you have to really pour not just your time into it, but I say Atomy is not a business that requires any sort of investment. But if you have a business owner's mentality and you're business minded and entrepreneur minded, you're going to do things that are going to push your business along a lot faster. Okay. And you're going to get a lot more exposure through that. So I love that point that you're making.
Yeah. And that's it. I've got business cards. I've got the t-shirts. I've got, those things to brand things. When my members come to me and say that they want to start doing the business and they start working on their 2 downlines and they actively are working on that, I help them get business cards so that they can, start sharing that out with people. We have product flyers that we give out that show all of the products. We take those steps in order to help, brand, help get the information out there, and do things that there's a lot of things you can do for free to brand your business. You can start your own Facebook group and let people join it. And the thing is I've even let within my Facebook groups, I've let people who are not they might be Atomy members, but they might not even be in my downlines or my network. I let them come in because I want people to learn. I want people to grow. I want people to experience, things that, I'm doing, that you're doing, that they might then be able to take and make it their own and go and do it themselves. So we've done, last year we did some vendor events. We went up, set canopies up, and had products out there. We do all sorts of things, and just to become a member of your community. You've got to get out there. You've got to not be intimidated by people saying no to you. The very first person that I signed up in India was the 170th person that I messaged, and I was about ready to give up. And that was before India opened up.
Yeah.
And one night I'm laying in bed. I thought, well, I'll try it again. I'll send a message. And within 15 minutes, the person replied back and said, yes, I'm interested. Well, jump out of bed, because I've got, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, my time. So, I got to take into consideration that it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, their time. Yep. And they're up, they're ready, they're interested. So, okay, I gotta take this moment and share with them and help them sign up. They signed up, and now they're one of my biggest members in India. And what's interesting is we opened our center last year, and out of the blue, I had someone walk in, and they signed up, and now I've got this huge Filipino community that is there. I've opened up Atomy to our Filipino community within this area, and now I've got this huge Bangladesh isn't even open. They're going to hopefully open in 2023. I mean, that's what kind of the timeline is, I think. Yeah. But I've got thousands of people now in Bangladesh as members, and I'm going to be going there in, as soon as we start hearing more timelines for Bangladesh opening up, I'm going to go to India, meet with my partners there, and then we're going to go, we being some of my partners from India, we're going to go to Bangladesh and meet our teams there. And so it's an amazing thing.
Did you ever think that you would have a business that extended out into India, Bangladesh? I mean, just international, because you were within your local community. I mean, did that ever cross your mind? Was it a goal of yours?
No, it wasn't. I don't even think it was a goal. It's been an interesting ride. Now, one of the things that actually did happen was, for years, my wife and I, we've always given to charity, to like World Vision, to support the children and everything, right? Every month, we still do it. Money, it's just automatic, right? But I never know whether or not what I'm giving has an impact on their lives. I don't really see it on a daily basis, right?
Right.
Well, one of the things that started happening for me when I signed up the people in India is I started seeing change in their lives on a daily basis. We'd meet by Zoom, we'd meet, through a WhatsApp or Messenger, and I could just see this change in their lives. One of my members was, when I met him, he was working 12 hours a day in a factory, making embroidered suits for women, and 7 days a week. And he was 900 miles away from his home, his family. So when I started talking to him about Atomy, he said, well, sir, I'm poor. How can I do this? And I said, well, how much money do you make every month? And he goes, I make 14,000 rupees. And I'm thinking to myself, well, 14,000 of anything is probably a good thing, right?
Right.
But then I did the math on it, and it comes to $186 a month.
Wow.
12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and he's 900 miles away from his family. And so I said, if you want to be successful with Atomy, the very first thing you need to do is just sign up. It's free. Just sign up. That's all I'm asking. You just sign up, right? And so I started sharing with him about the business. More and more people started signing up. And now he no longer works in the factory. He's at home. Atomy opened up, and he now earns around 3 commissions a month. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot, but to him,
that's what he was making. That was
it's what he was making.
Wow.
You know, that 100 or, you know, three commissions a month, that's like $170 a month, you know?
Yep.
And so it equaled his pay, but now he's at home with his family.
That's right.
Right? He is actively working Atomy. One of the things that he did, he had a part of his house was, it's all, you know, kind of brick and falling down, and he rebuilt it and he turned it into his little Atomy center. So I sent them the you know, the company motto banner and some product banners and everything, shipped it to him. And he's got those on his walls. So, you know, and it helped him feel so proud, you know, of his accomplishments. So he continues to share the message, and I see the change in him every day. You know, 3 commissions are equal to what he made.
Right. Yeah.
4 commissions is going to bless his life. Any more than that, it's going to just change it.
Yeah.
And so for me, when I see the impact that I can have on people's lives and help them change, help them succeed, that has become my new mission in life, right? My new passion. And so for me, you know, with Atomy, it's really interesting here in America. We take things for granted, like so much. And when I go and I talk to someone about, hey, you can earn a $55 commission or a $60 commission, they're like, oh, well, whatever, you know?
Right.
The attitude is just like, they don't see the vision. It's really hard to break through that. The other thing within America is we've had a long history with network marketing.
Yeah.
A long history. And, you know, you think about some of the top companies out there. Amway, definitely number 1 in the field, been around for 70 some years. You've got Herbalife, Vorwerk. Vorwerk is the oldest network marketing company in the world, 140 years now, a German company. You've got Natura and Company. Natura and Company is actually, they own Avon. So they're number 2 in the company, Natura in the country, in the global world of network marketing.
Yeah.
And then you've got a number of others, New Skin, you've got PM International, and all of these other network marketing. Tupperware is a network marketing company. And I didn't realize it until after I got involved with Atomy. But one of the things that happened, all of those network marketing companies have been around for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And they had a long time to develop their products, to open up in new markets, new countries, and to really expand that message. They had a long time to figure out network marketing. And then 13 years ago, along comes Atomy and stripped away everything that those network marketing companies were doing. Stripped away the fees, the starter kits, the monthly fees, the website usage fees, stripped away the downline cap or income level, stripped away that whole, you know, that when we think of network marketing, everybody thinks of a pyramid, right?
Right.
Well, you know, I thought that same thing too. And then I realized we all have worked for pyramids, because if you've ever been an employee somewhere, I guarantee you had a boss, and that boss probably had a director, and that director probably had a vice president, and that vice president probably had a president of the division of the company you were in. And sitting up at the top was that one person, or maybe a board of directors up there at the very top. And they were the ones making all of the money. They were the ones, you know, just sitting there getting rich while you and I are pulling all the levers and pushing all the buttons. So corporate America is the real pyramid. And we, from the day our children are born, we just ingrain it in them. Go to school, get a job, work it the rest of your life. But things are changing so much. Our technology's changing. The jobs we have today are not going to be the same thing tomorrow. We've got so many people that have gone to school and gotten degrees in things, and they get out of school and they can't find jobs in the degree that they were trained in.
That's right.
And so, you know, things have changed. And so because things have changed, we have to change.
Well, and there's a misconception, because one of the responses that I get a lot is, oh, it's shocking to me because they say, oh, but so people have to buy product, right? And when they attach it to the pyramid. And I said, look, if people don't go into Walmart and buy product, if people don't go into Target to buy product, if people don't go into Costco to buy product, there is no company, there is no revenue, there's no sales. The difference is that everything here, it's an online store, right? So we're literally just switching where we're buying the product. But what I loved about Atomy is I said, this is one of the only business opportunities that I have found, very few, where you legitimately do not have to invest a single penny. All you have to do is just change where you're buying from.
Exactly.
You don't have to invest a single penny, which means that it's one of the very few businesses that from your very first commission, you are profitable. From the very first commission that you receive, you're profitable because you don't walk into Kroger or you don't walk into Safeway and say, well, I got to invest in some shampoos today. No, you just buy your product, right? You buy what you need, and that's it. So really, for just doing the same actions, just changing where we're buying from the very first commission, I was like, you don't have to pay for all the things that you said, right? Or traditional business, employees, rents, insurances, all that stuff. You can get started with nothing. And I said, well, you know what? That's the most duplicatable type of business opportunity, right? Because not everybody has X amount of dollars to throw into a business to get something started, hire employees, the traditional way. And so I said, that's why we see such diversity in the people that are having successes in Atomy, right? Age wise, ethnicity wise, profession wise, right? We're so diverse because of the fact that anybody and everybody can do this business. I have people that are 75 years old on my team that are making $1,500 to $2,000 a month. And I'm just like, I'm blown away because there is no other business. In my other business, my marketing agency that I had, I was like, I would never be able to hire somebody that was 75, had no experience in the field, and have them be successful at it. There would be a massive learning curve. And so when I realized that, I said, this is why the company is growing. And even though, all those companies that you mentioned in the network marketing space, right? Amway, Herbalife, they have all capped. They've all gotten to a certain threshold and then not been able to break from that from that plateau. And I think it's also because of the fact that you're weighing out how duplicatable it is on one side versus the situation, the times that we're living in now, right? Most people don't have or don't want to take on, I have to spend $200 every single month. I'm going to get kits and I'm going to get a set of products that I may not even run through. And then I have to get another set of products. And so when you eliminate that completely, which is what Atomy's done, it's the reason why even Amway, as an example, being one of the largest ones, I think they've got 4 million global members, roughly, or right around there. And then you look at Atomy, and Atomy has 16 million global active members. And I said, where people are going, the money will come. And so I see companies growing, not just from a member level, but also a revenue standpoint. The company hasn't stopped growing. And so I see while other companies have leveled off, company keeps growing. Why do people keep buying Atomy's products? If they're not obligated to buy, there's no minimum that they have to buy. So why do the sales keep going up? For the simple fact that the products actually work and people are satisfied. And that's one of the things that really stuck out to me from the company's video, which is really goes beyond the customer success. So when you're buying something from Atomy, you're not just getting what you are paying for. You're still getting even more. And I find it with, simple things. Example, you buy our plant calcium, right? Well, you're buying calcium. That's the reason why you're buying the product. But then then it's like, by the way, well, on top of the calcium, there's also some zinc in there. There's some other great elements in there. So you're getting more than what you paid for. And so the customer is satisfied at the end of the day, right? Because they are getting more than what they're paying for. So they have a true value. That's why absolute price, absolute quality, right? But I think because Atomy's really gotten it right. And I think that where I feel the company right now is it hasn't even blown up yet, right? So it's right here. Well, I'm backwards. So it's like this, right? We're at this point where the trajectory is pointing up, but it has not yet exploded. And that's an exciting time to be a part of a company that is right at that brink. And I got to tell you, I have humongous hopes for 2023. I think that 2023 and 2024 are going to be incredible years for Atomy. And I think that if you're watching this or you've been listening to this conversation, uh, if you haven't taken action now, or you've just been sort of sitting on the sidelines, maybe you've been trying the product, you've been buying it, you like it, but you're sort of indecisive on, I don't know, is it one of those, it's just one of those other opportunities. I got to tell you, everything in life is all about decisions. And sometimes we have opportunities that come our way once, twice. I'm talking about good opportunities in our lifetime. And I think right now is one of those opportunities. It's one of those times where it's time to get off the sideline and into the game. It's time to start being a spectator and actually start putting action behind it. Because what you don't want to do, and the great thing about Atomy is that it doesn't matter if you start now or you started 10 years ago or you start 5 years from now, right? Everybody has the same opportunity to get to make the same amount of money, which is something that I love. So it's not that this is tied to time, but you don't want to be those people, because we're always, humans we're people that look back in retrospect. If only I would have invested in Apple when that stock was, at that price. If only I would have bought Bitcoin when it was $4. If only I would have done this. If only. We're always looking in hindsight. And what you don't want to do is 5 years from now, when you see, Scott, receiving his Crown Master, Royal Master, or Imperial Master, promotional ceremony, to be like, I knew that guy when he was, building the business, and I could have been right alongside, but now I'm starting 5 years later. And sure, you're going to have a much more built out structure and company. I'm sure by that time we'll have a ton more members, maybe even hitting 100 million. I mean, I really, really subscribe to Chairman Park's vision and his goals, and he's met everything that he's set himself, every goal he set himself. And I know that he has a goal of exceeding 100 million members in Atomy. And so I think that really we're in a time where you got to take action. Like, I always say, if not, how long are you going to wait to make those dreams come true? Because the one thing that is true is time is going to pass.
Right.
And I notice this more the older that I get. I feel like time is just flying by. This last year went like snap of a finger. And so I look back prior to Atomy and I said, 3 years. How quickly have 3 years gone? And really, did much of my life change in those 3 years? And the answer is no. So we know that time's going to pass, and unless we do something different than what we've currently been doing, we can't expect anything different, right? What is it? Insanity is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results, right? So we can't do that. So I really am excited, and I think that now's the time to act. I think the people that are, sowing now are going to be reaping, right, later. And it's just, I don't know. I'm just excited, Scott. I just think it's an exciting time.
I am too. And you're right. I think in the next few years is just going to be a tremendous experience for all of us in Atomy. The company's only been in existence for 13 years. We're in 25 countries. Last year, our revenue increased to the point where we are now in 10th place.
Yeah.
And Tupperware, who's been around for a long time, they're in 11th place. And so, if our global revenue continues to grow, which it will, because we're opening in new countries, and like you said, a lot of the other network marketing companies, they've kind of tapped out. If you take a look at some of the companies that are out there, the revenue's dropping. They're not growing. They're not expanding into new countries. They're not expanding their product line. And, they're just continuing on with that same old model that they've had. And Atomy's a new company. It's a new vision, a new strategy, a new opportunity for many people. And where else can you start a business for free? just by becoming a member. Where else can you do that? And when I think about it, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know how to sell. I'm not a salesperson. This isn't about selling. It's about changing your buying habits. That's exactly it. And then telling other people about it. We refer to it as riding the bus. You buy the products for yourself, you use the products for yourself, and then you share the products with other people. BUS, ride the bus. You get on the bus, you start riding the bus, but eventually someday you find yourself in the driver's seat. And now you've got all your team members are on the bus with you. And you've gone from being a passenger to being the driver of your own bus, your own destiny, heading down the road towards success. And you've got to take some action. You've got to do that and continue to just share the economic gospel with Atomy and change people's lives, bless people's lives with it. One of the things that I focused, early on in 2019, after I got involved with my wife, I was so focused on my success. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. It's all, I can't wait. I mean, this is all me. And then I had the paradigm shift that if I truly want to be successful, I need to help other people become successful. So if I start focusing on other people's success, helping them earn their first commission, helping them grow their downlines, helping them learn about the products, helping them get started, I'm going to be ultimately successful. And so my vision now, my focus is right there, serve in humility and focus on helping other people succeed, helping them grow their business and continue on. And, the thing is don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid. And so don't be afraid to talk to people. If I remember when Crown Master Jason Shim became when he became Crown Master, in his speech, he said, don't judge a book by the cover. Speak to everybody, because you never know when you're going to be speaking to the next Imperial Master.
Very true.
And the thing is Atomy's system is so fair for everybody, right? It is absolutely fair for everybody. And that's what's beautiful about it. That whole pyramid thing that we were talking about, Atomy chopped the top off by putting the $100,000 per month cap.
Right.
So when people reach that, they can't make more than that. Their goal is to help their partners come up. Their goal is to help people succeed. And so they've completely rewritten network marketing as a business opportunity for people. And it's no longer about selling. It's about, changing your buying habits and continuing on with that. And so, I'm just looking forward to 2024 or 2023. Actually, we're coming up on that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the fact that, when you think about like Amway and Avon and those guys, they're in 100 countries. We're only in 25. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. And I know that, Atomy's vision for the upcoming year is going to be about synergy. It's going to be about, global synergy, working together, like you had mentioned, GSGS products and strategies like that, just bringing countries together and bringing these products together, helping people succeed throughout the world and continuing to grow that. So I'm excited about it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to many more seminars and to be able to get back into that. One of the other things that I'm doing now is I'm hosting our first one-day seminar here in my hometown.
Awesome.
Because Atomy, they support that. They'll, all you got to do is get behind the mic.
Yep.
And so Atomy has put together all of these strategies and these tools for our success, for your success. So get out there and use it. It's free. If all you got to do is fill out the application on the Atomy website to host your own one-day seminar in your area. Atomy pays for it. They provide all of the services for it. It can't get easier.
Yep. We're doing the same thing out here in Dallas. We've started the one-day seminars. The company's been fantastic. in supporting that. And I just think if you have the desire, if you've got the drive, Atomy will give you the support and what you need in order to help you accomplish your goals. And then we simply duplicate that exactly like you were saying with our team is we help them. And as long as we serve in humility, as long as we truly look after, and I always say I say, prioritize your team and you're going to get taken care of. Make sure that they're taken care of, make sure that they've got the resources that they need, make sure that they're growing, make sure that they're making money, and then everything else falls into place. And I think I've never found another business that had that type of value system, like Atomy does. So it's absolutely amazing. Absolutely.
I'm just so thankful that my wife signed up, and now I do the Atomy business more than her, I think. So
that's right. You and I are in the same boat because my wife was the one that signed up initially just to buy products. And then when I noticed the business, I'm like, how much time have I let go by? I wish I would have found this so much earlier, but I think everything in due time, and here we are, and I'm excited for what the future is going to bring. Now, before we wrap up, one thing that I wanted to do is I did a little bit of a deep dive on your social media, and I want to go. I just want to bring up.
You don't show any pictures.
I want to show two quick pictures, and I want you to just give a little bit of background. Now, one thing that I noticed, because I want people to know a little bit more about Scott as a person, is I was thoroughly impressed with this.
Yeah, that is my great grandparents, Emil Wallin and Augusta Verge, and they. It was an interesting thing. That picture hung on my grandfather's wall in his living room, and he never knew much about it. He knew his parents. He grew up in Minnesota, and they were immigrants from Germany, and the grandfather there, he was born in Wisconsin, but his parents came from Germany, and just such a beautiful picture.
Let me ask you what, because I noticed that you've been really working on your family tree.
Yes.
What made you want to not just find out about maybe just them, but your entire start really building and researching and looking, and I saw marriage certificates. What made you want to work on that?
When I was a young kid, my grandmother, she would sit on the couch, and I would sit with a pen and paper on the coffee table, and she would recite from memory her ancestry, and she would go all the way back to the 1600s, and that was on my mom's side. And so I always was fascinated with the family tree and working that. And so when the internet came about, and not in the 1990s, but so much more in the 2000s, I really got interested in it. My grandmother passed away, and I thought, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to try and figure out whether or not the information that she was saying was true. And 99% of the information that she shared with me from memory, I was able to corroborate. And so it just got me, interested more and more in it. I'm an avid genealogist. I love it. I have a website called IamAleaf.com, because we're all leaves on our mighty tree of our family, And when we think of the world of network marketing, we're building a family tree. We're building relationships with people, and we focus on that relationship with people. It's just really an interesting thing. Now, an interesting thing about my grandfather there, one of his jobs in the wintertime was going to cut blocks of ice out of the lakes in Minnesota. Pre-refrigeration, because refrigeration didn't happen until World War II, right after World War II. And so he worked the lakes of Minnesota, cutting blocks of ice and pulling them out of the ice with mules.
Wow.
And horses. And the interesting thing about blocks of ice is that they would store them in barns covered in hay and straw, and the blocks of ice would last all summer long. And
Really?
it was a really interesting thing. I mean, that's how they kept food cold, right?
Wow.
So you learn a lot. You learn a lot when you're doing your ancestry.
That's fascinating. I saw it. I'm like, wow. Really, the time that it takes and the research, and it was just impressionable to see how you've really gotten to discover your family tree, which I think most people don't do. So that stuck out to me. And then the other thing that is, I know that you also have, I believe you have a charity, you have a nonprofit.
Yes.
And I saw this most recent picture. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, 4 years ago, well, in 2018, August of 2018, well, prior to that, 2017, I started going to the gym, and I met up with some people, and they said, Scott, come on, go running with us. And at the time I weighed 311 pounds. And I said, boy, I can't run. And they said, no, come on, let's go running. So we started running together. And then the run club that we were running in 2018, they were disbanding. And so I told my friends, I said, hey, let's form our own run club. And so I created a run club called the Lacey Joggernauts, because you can jog or not. And it started out with myself and a few friends. And now we have over 600 members in the club worldwide. We've got people in Germany. We got people across the United States in it. And, every Saturday morning we meet and we run, we do a 5K or an 8K, and we go running around. And so then it grew from there, right? And so now we do charity events every year for a group called For the Fallen, where our run club, we raise money for the fallen. And when I went to my second success seminar, I was handed the life scenario book, and it was on Veterans Day of 2019. And I got up on stage in front of that crowd. And one of the goals I had was to raise $10,000 a year for the group called For the Fallen. They are a military charity organization that provides prosthetic limbs for amputee vets. And this year we were able to accomplish that. Our little run club that started out 4 years ago, we had raised almost $10,000 for the club, or for the Fallen organization. And so it's just a great way to bring community together. It's a free event, and just getting people out there and active. And I no longer weigh 311 pounds. I'm down around 275 now. So I still got a long way to go. But, it's what you do for community, and it's just bringing the community together and giving back more than I'm taking, right? So.
Well, y'all heard it here. The man, the myth, the legend, the face of Atomy USA for the last 2 years. And Scott, I want to just thank you for taking time out of your day. And before wrapping up, just any words that you want to leave the audience with.
I would just like to just say, if you're going to get into this, just learn as much as you can and give it away. Give it away. Give your time away. Give your knowledge away. Give everything. Give the products away. You don't have to give, a little toothbrush here or there. Let people try the products, but just give. Become a servant. And the more you serve, the faster you'll succeed in this. And volunteer. Don't be afraid to volunteer and to help other people out. My goal in life is not to give people handouts, but to give them a hand up, and to continue to serve and help. And other people are going to be successful before I am. We think about, one last thing. When at the success seminars, I met the very first person who signed up for Atomy. His member ID is member ID number 1. And he just became an Imperial Master. You would think that if you're the first person, you're automatically guaranteed to become an Imperial Master, but you're not,
Yep.
because it's a fair system. 12 other people became Imperial Masters before he did. And finally, his weaker line started growing, and he finally reached Imperial Master. So never give up, continue on. We're in the foundation stages here in Atomy, like you had said. We're just in the beginning of it. And I'm so fortunate. So I look forward to the next 10 years. I know Atomy has a goal to become a 100-year-old company, but I won't be here to see it. My goal is that Atomy will be a 25-year-old company. I'll be able to see that one, right?
There you go. I love it. I love it. And let people know, where is your center? So if there's anybody in
Lacey, Washington, 5718 Pacific Avenue, right here in Lacey, Washington. And we're open Monday through Friday and Saturday. And, and in between there, I'm here till midnight every night because, again, it's a global company, and I've got people in Bangladesh and India, and they keep me busy. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I love it. Well, Scott, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. You definitely have the right heart. You have the heart of a servant. Thank you for everything that you do. And hopefully we'll have some more conversations. Definitely, this is, I think, a little too short for the amount of topics that I'd love to talk to you about. But wish you the best. Thanks for coming on. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And we'll have some more amazing and awesome content for y'all. So happy holidays. And if we don't see you before, have a fantastic new year. And we wish you all the best in 2023.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.